friends, this is Linda. Welcome to Lilybug's Library. The day that I'm filming this, it is very windy, and so I'm hopeful that my power doesn't go off as we're doing this, because we'll have even less light, but we'll see how it goes. So this might be a quick one just in case. So today we're opening day 12 of our tea advent calendar, and it looks like a little Santa sack. So I'm going to stick my finger in there. Okay, let's see what we got. All right, this one is called Royal Tea, and it's got Darjeeling black tea, lemon extract, and dried lemon. Okay, so hopefully it won't be too sour. So I'm going to open it up and bring up my little tea ball here. As you might be able to hear, Oliver is very close. I can hear his little chirping. Figure he's becoming a star, or he thinks he is. All right, so this has big pieces of lemon in it. So I'm going to put it into my cup, and we will see how that goes. All right, so before we get into too many things, I did want to talk to you about the books that I just finished. So just finished, and it wasn't on my list. I put it on my list after I did my TBR. It was 3 Holidays and a Wedding. And I was specifically picked that one out because I was looking for something that didn't just celebrate Christmas, but some of the other holidays that happen in December. But this one was unique because it's about a year in the future where Christmas, Hanukkah, and Ramadan all start on the same day. And so that, or maybe they, no, actually, I take that back. Christmas and Hanukkah would start near the same day. I think maybe the last day of Hanukkah was the first day of Christmas, something like that. And then Ramadan was finishing on that day, and the celebration of Eid would be starting. Anyway, and then on top of that, of course, there was a wedding that needed to happen. It was really good. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It was sweet. It was heartwarming. There was romances. There was basically these people all were trying to make their way to Toronto, and they had to go there. One was going there for Christmas celebrations. The other one was like a whole family that was going there to have one of their sisters' weddings. And there was just a lot going on. Well, they get on this flight to Toronto, and it's winter, and things happen in winter in Canada. So things don't quite work out the way that they planned, and they end up having a whole different experience. So it was terrific. I really enjoyed it. I don't want to give too much away, but definitely look it up. They did a really good job. I learned a lot too. Didn't know like a lot of things about Ramadan, so this kind of educated me on that. And a few things about Hanukkah I didn't know, since I've never celebrated either one of those. But it was all very interesting, and the small town that is part of it was really good. So really, really loved it, and I think it's definitely got that cozy Christmas vibes, or Ramadan or Hanukkah vibes. But anyway, you have a look and see what you think, because I thought it was amazing. The other one that I read was Dachshund to Death. So Dachshund to Death was arc from NetGalley, so thank you to NetGalley and to the author. I would give it probably 3 out of 5 stars. I don't think that particular author is necessarily for me. This is the second book I've read now that I liked, but I didn't love. Um, I mean, it's got a ton of dogs in it. They're all adorable. The little dachshunds in it, Ginger and Spice, which I thought was cute. So they end up, their owner ends up getting killed, and so Kat, who is the main character in the series, she ends up having to look after them, and she's not really a dog person, so it kind of is a little more than she can handle at times. And I'm sure a lot of you have read, the entire series up to this point. So this one doesn't come out for a little while, but it's got the mystery. It's got the small town feel. They're having a gingerbread doghouse competition, which I thought when I first started to read it that they meant just little gingerbread houses shaped like dog houses. No, they mean something big enough a dog can actually go in, all made out of dog friendly treats, right? So that part was really cute. And anyway, the story, it's a good mystery, but I find it was a little not complicated exactly, but there were many different pieces to it. So at times I found it a little bit hard to follow where they were going with it, but it does all come together in the end. So yeah, not bad. I gave it, like I said, 3 out of 5 stars. We've started two more. Well, I've started one. I've started two. Wonderful Husbands listening to one. But the two that we're working with now is, I think it's called the Christmas Caper at the Bow Wow Bakery. It's a pretty long one, long name. And the other one is one that wasn't on our list, but we just put it on our list and we're starting it. And it's called Jingle Bells Rifle Shells. So we'll see how that one goes. And then I'm still listening to Dog for Christmas. Haven't made a lot of progress on that, and it's not that it's not a good story. I just haven't really had time to listen to Audible. So I'll get back to it. Before we go on about the actual reason for this video, let me see how the tea's doing. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. It's still very pale, so we'll give it a minute. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was rereading, spoilers, and trigger warnings. So those are some of the things I know that we all have different opinions on, and so I thought we'd talk a little bit about that. So rereading is probably the easiest one of the three, I guess. So I was thinking about what I thought of rereading, because I have reread, some of my favorites. And I think there's a good and bad side to it. So I know with rereading, sometimes you pick up things that you didn't think you were going to pick up, like things that just kind of you missed on the first reading, or you forgot about, that was like a hidden gem that you read it again. It's like, oh yeah, right. Sometimes you're in a very different headspace between the first time you read it and the second time. And so that could be good or bad, I mean, I've had times where I've reread things and wished that I hadn't, because I had like a really nice warm memory of what it was like the first time I read it and kind of held that dear. And then I read it a second time and think, okay, well, that's not as good as I remember, And so it's like, I should have just not read it. And then let's see what else. Yeah, sometimes you may have been concentrating so much on the plot and what was going on in like the mystery, or you may have missed some of the things about the characters that you love, or vice versa. You may have been concentrating so much on the characters, there were little clues in the plot that you missed the first time around. So sometimes those things are fun. Sometimes too, I know for myself, you might be reading something and maybe you got a bit distracted during one part, or you fell asleep. And so then when you pick it up again, you kind of skim through that part and keep reading. And when you go back and read it a second time, it's like that whole piece is kind of new, because you kind of didn't quite get it the first time. So lots of different things about rereading. Let me know what you think. Do you reread books? Does there have to be a certain amount of time in between the readings? Because if I reread something, it's usually years later. Unless it's something, in our house, if it's something that I really enjoyed and I think Wonderful Husband will enjoy, then I'll read it again to him. So that's the only time that I reread something quickly. So, and the next thing is spoilers. So I'm personally not okay with spoilers. That's why I don't give them in my channel. I don't do anything that I think is going to, that might ruin the story for someone else. I know some people are fine with them. They, I guess, think that it's not really a big deal, that they may, forget what the spoiler was by the time they read the story. Um, but to me, I don't want to know. I don't, that does ruin the story for me. It's like going to a movie with someone and, getting close to, the climax of the movie and they're going, oh yeah, right, that guy dies. It's like, don't tell me that. I don't want to know that. So different things like that. It's okay to give a synopsis and your opinion, but the spoilers I could do without. So the other thing was trigger warnings. So I am very passionate about this one. I want trigger warnings, and I know a lot of people don't feel the need for them, and they feel that it could spoil the book if there's a trigger warning about something that's going to happen in the book. Usually, it's nothing specific uh, that you're necessarily going to put at a certain point, or I don't think it spoils the book myself. I just feel like um, there's things I need to know. And I know you can't put every trigger warning on every book. I get that. But if it's a book specifically about, like a major thing, like there's, I don't know, scenes of great violence, or there's sexual assault, or there's domestic violence, child abuse. Like there's lots of things that they really should put a trigger warning for. When I was younger, maybe I didn't care. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have such a thing, so I didn't realize it could be a thing. But I do find that it gives me a heads up, so I know what's coming and whether or not I want to read the book. And I know that's maybe why authors don't always put them in, but I need that, and I think I have a lot more respect for an author that does put that sort of thing in. And this way too, it also, if you're giving it to a friend, like if you're gifting a book and it doesn't have any trigger warnings and you gift it in good faith and then the friend has issues and they go to read it, and yeah, that's not good either, right? I mean, so even as a good friend, I want to be sure that of what I'm giving before I give it. All right, let's try our tea. It's not bad. It's quite soothing. I like that. The lemon is not overpowering. I was afraid it would be. I was afraid it would taste like neocitrin. I don't know if anybody has ever had neocitrin, or even where they sell it, whether it's just Canada or the US. But it's a cold medicine, and it's like you make it like a cup of tea, but it's very lemony, and it's got whatever cold healing things in it, whatever medications are in it. But it tastes very lemony, and this is not like that. It's just a nice subtle lemon taste. So yeah, I like it. Probably a 3 out of 4. It's not bad. So that's about all I have today. Like I said, we got through this without any problems, so that's good. I have a bunch of phone calls to make today before I go off to work. So I'm going to try and get those done, and we'll see how the workday goes, whether we lose power in the middle of it or what happens. But we'll give it a shot. So that's it for day 12, and I will be back with you tomorrow with lucky number 13. All right, bye-bye, friends.